Hey Star, are you ready?
I'm a lady.
And welcome to iDOL Days, the show about iDOL anime. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Star.
And today, we are doing a show that Star's been trying to get me to watch forever.
For so fucking long, and she finally watched it.
I finally watched it, and I should have watched it sooner because I loved it.
I knew you would, Sarah. That's why I've been trying to get you to watch it. See, this is why I love having a podcast, is I can force Sarah to finally watch all the shows I know she would love.
Hey, so Star, did you watch all of Locodol?
I did, like, the year it came out, which would have been in, like, 2015, I think.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it was a while ago. So I don't remember most of it.
Hey.
But I remember it was cute and it had a nice vibe.
Yes. So I will refresh you, Star, and to all of our viewers who haven't watched Locodol, I will describe it. So Locodol actually started as a 4-coma, so just like a 4-panel comedy manga.
I hadn't like looked up the history of it, but that definitely makes sense with like the pacing of the show, I think.
And in the same way that some other 4-coma anime that I've talked about, I'm thinking about like Dropout Idol Fruit Tart, is I can't go through and explain every joke because then it would just make the show not good.
Oh, but Sarah, I just want I want to hear like 2 hours of you explaining every single gag in this show to me, please. That's what I'm paying you for. Come on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure that would be very entertaining. Especially in an audio or only format.
Yeah, exactly.
So I will probably mostly explain the like running gags and then the overall plot, but there are a lot of little tiny gags that show up throughout. So if you're a fan of cute girls doing cute things or in slice of life comedy, which is my thing, you'd like Locodol too. Also, it's super gay.
It is. Sarah, this show was made for you.
It was made for me.
I remember vividly like laying in bed at my first ever apartment and just like thinking Sarah would like this. Sarah should watch this.
I should have watched it back then. I love it so much.
Well, now you got to watch it for the podcast, so you're welcome.
And another thing that I will just preface is Locodol itself, the main season came out. It was a 12-episode season. And then with the DVD that came out, there were 3 small standalone episodes, a 3-part OVA. The 3-part OVA was available on the streaming platform I used to watch it, Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll.
But I probably actually won't talk about them just because the show comes to a climax and then the rest are just like cute little fan service gag episodes. And I feel
That's
like
fair.
It wouldn't really fit the flow. So if you're interested in Locodol after I describe it, you can watch the OVAs yourself. They're easy to find.
I like it. Yeah, I remember being confused because, like, I watched the first season and then years later I remember, like, seeing some stuff about Locodol and, like, a character I didn't recognize and was like, who the fuck is that? I wasn't sure if it, like, got a second season or something, or...
Nope, just 3 small episodes that came after.
Got it.
All right, and so, into Locodol. So... I'll describe some of the characters. I might not describe all of the characters at once because there's not that many, which is great.
No, I knew that. I'm like, there's like 2, eventually 3 main characters.
Yep, it's great.
It's real easy to keep track of.
It's so great. So our first character is not a character. It is the city they live in because they are Locodols stand for local idols, and they are the local idols of the small town. And the small town is called Nagarekawa, which doesn't exist in real life, but it is very closely modeled after a real-life town called Nagareyama. So, just a ya instead of a ka, which is real. Like, all the background pieces are, like, actual places in this Nagareyama place. So,
Gotcha.
It's that place.
Do you think this anime, like, increased their tourism?
Well, I looked it up and they have been using Locodol as like promo material like ever since the show came out. So yes.
I love that that's a trend. Anime for tourism.
Anime for tourism. So Nagareyama is it's technically in the suburbs of Tokyo. It's like an hour out by train. So not like in the major city proper. It's like a small town, but not so small that it's all farmlands.
Gotcha.
It's just suburby.
Spurb.
Spurb. The animation studio actually is the same studio that ended up making Dropout Idol Fruit Tart. Just
Oh, is it?
yeah. And then like some of the voice actors are like other Idol voice actors. Like their manager who you meet later is Ami Mami from Idol Master.
No shit.
Yeah. So, you know.
I just remember there's a plot point later. I think there's like a random side character who has the same voice as Chihaya Idol Master.
Yes, there is. She's another idol, but she barely shows up.
Yeah, she's in like one episode, I think.
So,
I just remember
shows.
recognizing her voice, and I was like, wait a goddamn second. That's Chihaya.
That's Chihaya. So, our main characters, I will just do the first two for now, and then we'll meet the others later. Our main character is Nanako. She goes by Nana, but then sometimes she stutters and is Nanyako, but she's not a cat girl. She just messes up. She's our main character. She's normal. She kind of looks like Haruka Idolmaster. She has like brown hair with bangs that's like chin, shoulder length, and a little bit flippy. She is not as much main character energy in the sense that she's very Genki, but more like the person you're supposed to relate to, right? So she's just a normal small town high school girl doing high school things and then ends up in this situation.
Mm-hmm. In a situation.
And whenever she does have an image color, it's light blue. She's not often wearing her image color, but when she does, it's that color.
She's wearing the blue in the picture that you sent me with the cast.
Yes.
So there we go.
And the other main character in the idol group is Yukari. She is tall. She has long blonde hair and green eyes. She is boobled. And she's very much like the ara, like, oh yes, I'm such a proper, happy mom energy, calm friend.
Very much so, very much so.
She's kind of like Mugi Kaon, which I know we still haven't done.
We're gonna do it eventually. I swear to God.
One day we'll do the Kaon episode and all the other episodes will make sense. But not today. We're in Locodol.
Not today. It's Locodol time.
It's Locodol time. And then there will be other characters that we will meet later. I'll just mention them as they come up because there's not 7 of them or 7 plus 3 plus 10 plus 1. So it's easier.
There we go. Also, I'm looking it up just out of curiosity. Apparently, what's the second girl's name? Yukari? Mm-hmm. She is in Bang Dream, apparently.
Oh, idols.
She is Mocha. I don't know who that is, but one of the characters who's not in season 1, apparently.
Idol Illuminati.
Confirmed.
So, episode 1. We see Nanako, our main character, and it's summertime, and the local pool, which is kind of one of the only things to do in this town, has been newly renovated, and she really wants to go swimming. Yeah. And she's trying to convince her parents, like, hey, give me money to buy so I can buy a swimsuit so I can go swimming. And she goes as far as, like, turning on the TV. And when she turns on the TV, there's a little promotional about the public pool.
And she's just like, hey, point, wink.
Let's go. And it's kind of cute because the person giving the promotion for the public pool is Yukari. So, like, It kind of does the same thing as a lot of other anime. Like, before the main cast is announced, you see little bits of them doing their own thing on the side, and then they become the main cast.
Cute.
Pretty cute. So that is our setting. And then we get the OP. Which is sung by the Nagarekawa girls, the main idol group. It's mostly like the girls are singing and dancing and they're like taking videos with their friends and just like doing normal stuff around town.
You know, your typical anime opening.
Your typical anime opening. And then post credits, she's at high school, and all her friends also want to go to the pool too. And so they're just thinking about ways that they can get Nana a swimsuit, and like maybe you could get a part-time job. And then they start talking about like, what do we want to do after school? Do you want to enter a club? Do you want to get a job? And Nana's like just thinking to herself, like, I don't know what I want to do, but I know I want to do something. There's that hole in my heart.
I wonder what she will do.
Who knows?
I wonder.
And on the way home, she's on the bus, which I think is cute because, like, she's in the suburbs, so she's taking the bus. She's not on, like, a train and she's not walking, right?
Yeah.
It's a very much a Japanese suburb situation. And on the bus on the way home, like, a local government truck pulls up next to her, you know, like the white trucks with, the announcement speakers on top.
The bane of my existence when I lived there, yes. They're so fucking loud.
So
driving
loud.
around at like 8 o'clock at night with the goddamn loudspeakers on. There was a haunted one of those when I lived in Shizuoka. Have I ever told you about
No,
this?
haunted how?
It was just very... I don't think it was a political truck. I think they were selling the roasted sweet potatoes. Mm-hmm. But it was so fucking scary sounding.
Oh,
no. And because like it just echoed, and of course they only ever came around when it was like dark and rainy and foggy outside. It was just like Yakimo. Yakimo. And I'm like, ugh!
definitely haunted. Absolutely
Very haunted, very haunted. So I hate all trucks with loudspeakers.
Cursed
on them.
vibe.
It's scary. Scary.
But this one's not haunted. It
Thank
actually
God.
starts like piping out like a little jingle that Nana starts like humming along to without thinking, and like it's like embarrassed when she realizes she was humming out loud. And that jingle comes back pretty soon. So she gets home and her uncle's there. And I guess her uncle works for the city, and he's just like a normal looking dude. He's like older, he has like short black hair, and he has glasses that are like shiny so you can't see his eyes, and he always wears a business suit.
Of course. I was gonna ask. If you didn't say it, I was gonna ask, is he wearing a suit?
He's always wearing a suit, and he is
Excellent.
a reoccurring character, so you will see Nana's uncle a lot. I
Okay.
know he has a name, but I don't remember it. So he's just Uncle.
He doesn't anymore.
Uncle. And her uncle is there, and he's like, hey, Nana, I heard that you want money so you could go to the pool. I have an opportunity for you. Would you like to do some government work for me? You just have to show up at the public pool event. I'll give you an advance for your swimsuit. Just make sure you're wearing your swimsuit there. Don't ask me any more questions. Sound good?
So sus, because I know how this turns out, and that's actually kind of creepy.
Yep. And she's like, yeah, I'm getting, she gets paid 1,000 yen an hour, which I guess like current inflation.
about $10.
Well, it's actually probably less even.
Yeah.
So she's like it's like minimum wage, right? She's getting paid minimum wage, and she's only gonna be there for like, it's like a 1 hour event. So she's getting $10, but she's getting it in advance so she can buy a swimsuit.
Yeah.
And she's like, yep, I will definitely do it if you're giving me money. I will do anything for $10.
Man, what kind of swimsuit could you buy for $10?
Well, at the beginning, she had money, but she was like just short for all of them. So she just needed a
Gotcha.
little bit to get more swimsuit.
That makes sense. Okay.
So then his phone rings, the uncle's phone. He's like, oh, I gotta go answer the phone. And his ringtone is the same song you heard on the jingle on the car. And apparently, this song is the town's song. So the town has its own theme song. And it's a song that just plays everywhere. All the loudspeakers, all the kids have to sing it in school. And it's just like ingrained in everyone's head.
Nice.
So she and her mom are like, oh yeah, this song is great. We talk about it all the time. And meanwhile, the uncle's in the other room and he's running out the door. And it's like dark and shadowy. And he answers his phone. It's like, yes, everything's ready. We're all clear. And then like he puts his phone down next to a clipboard with like Nana's picture and profile. And you're like, uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Hey, Sarah, real quick. I found a video that shows you what the creepy Yakimo sounds like.
Okay.
Hang on, I'm going to send this to you.
Okay.
So you have to imagine this sound, but it's a girl doing it, and it's dark, and it's foggy, and they only ever fucking came around at night. It's so scary.
Oh no. I like how the title of this or the title of the video when you open it says "Disturbing the Peace."
Well, that's what they do.
They disturb the
drive
peace.
around and they scream about sweet potatoes. Like, it was so haunted. It's so
absolutely
haunted, Sarah.
It's so cursed. Oh no.
But you have to imagine, like, mine was like a girl, and so it was more high pitched, and so it's like Yakimo, and it would like echo through the suburb that I lived in. It was like Sarah, I literally lived in Silent Hill. Fucking
I know you
Shizuoka
did.
in English is Silent Hill, and it's foggy and rainy, and you hear that shit approaching your apartment slowly but surely.
Yakimo.
You want to fucking book it.
Yeah.
Yakimo. But anybody asks you, what is it like living in Japan? You fucking show them that video.
Yep, it's that.
But you make it haunted.
But make it cursed.
But make it very cursed. And that is what it was like when I lived there for like 2 years.
In Silent Hill.
Yakimo. Anyway.
So at the pool, the event is about to start. The uncle's there helping set up the stage. And Nana comes up and she's like, oh, this looks really good. You guys have been doing a really great job with this marketing thing. What do you want me to do? How can I help out? And then he's like, okay, yep, it's pretty easy. So all that's going to happen is you're just going to go up on stage. You're just going to talk about the pool. And she's like, And then if you have time, you're going to do a little song and dance. She's like, Wait, what?
Wait,
So
what?
she's like, oh, wait, hold up.
Excuse?
Excuse. And she's like, no, I can't do this. I don't know any songs. I am not an idol. What are you making me do?
And he's like, you're gonna be.
Yeah, he's basically like, you're gonna be, and you can't back out now because I gave you that cash advance for the swimsuit, and also it was taxpayer money. So if you back out, you're wasting the taxpayers' money.
Fucking A.
So she's overwhelmed, but she's like feeling guilty. So she goes backstage and he's like, yep, you have a partner. You'll meet your partner. And there you meet Yukari, sorry. Oh my God, I'm in Zombieland mode. And then you meet Yukari, the total blonde one. And she's just like all sparkly and beautiful. And Annika's like, whoa, she's too beautiful to be next to me. What the fuck, right?
She's too beautiful. And I'm gay.
And I'm gay. And so she like runs out of the tent overwhelmed, but then she's bombarded by the local news who's like, oh, are you our new idols? And then Yukari walks up behind her and then is like, oh yeah, we're just nervous. It's okay. We're idols. We're happy to help you. Like super smooth, right? So Nana's like, wow, this girl's like too perfect. Like
High charisma.
high charisma. What am I doing standing next to her? Okay, I guess. So Yukari starts talking to her about how like Yukari's glad that she has a partner and glad it's a cute girl like Nana and that she's really excited to work together and together they'll be able to make the city better, right? So that's kind of their whole thing is like, even though the job's hard, we can help out Nagarekawa, not Yama, that's the real one, Nagarekawa, and make it a better town, help everyone else. So reluctantly, Nana goes on stage. Yukari doesn't seem to mind as much. It's implied she's been doing this job for at least a little bit through speech. And then also like you saw her earlier on TV. So she was working solo, but now she's a duo. And they introduce each other. Nana's very stiff because she wasn't expecting this, and this is her first time on stage. So she's being awkward. Yukari's trying her best, but like people seem pretty disinterested, and like everyone who's sitting around the little stage, like a lot of people start getting up to go in the pool. And the uncle starts realizing like, oh, we need to save this. And he like holds up a sign that's like, sing a song. And Anna's like, I don't know any songs, right? And so like there's this awkward moment of silence, and then the uncle's phone goes off. And it starts playing that like Nagarekawa jingle. And then Yukari's like, I got this. And she goes over to her keyboard and she starts playing the Nagarekawa song. And then Nana's like, oh, that's what we should do. And then she starts singing the town's jingle. And then everyone starts singing along. And they do a good job. So the jingle is repeated a lot throughout the show. It was written for the show, of course, since it's like not a real town. But it sounds like a traditional city song, right? Like very traditional, simple verses, like repeating song lines. But it kind of becomes one of their main idol songs.
Yeah, I remember that.
So it's pretty cute. So that's their first song, is the city's theme. And then after the performance, like a bunch of people come up and congratulate them on being the new idols and tell them they did a good job, which makes Nana feel more encouraged, which is cute.
Yeah.
And then the next day, Nana goes to school and she finds out that Yukari goes to the same school. She's a year above them, so she's a senpai. Nana's a first year, Yukari's a second year.
Gasp.
Yes. And then Yukari is like, I'm so excited to work with you. I'm glad you're my partner. And then she holds out her hand and they hold hands and walk to school together because they're in love.
There it is. There it is.
Alrighty, first episode.
First episode confirmed for love.
Confirmed for love. Episode 2. So, Nana's in it now. She's getting paid $10 an hour, minimum wage. But she's like, yep, I'm going to do this. I'm going to help out my uncle and I'm going to help out our city. So they're...
And become Idaru for money.
And become Idaru for money. So as part of their idol job, they start just doing like odd jobs around town to promote local businesses. This one specifically opens with them like exterminating beehives while being filmed. And Anna's like, this is so upsetting. I'm being stung by bees.
That's what idols do.
Yes.
Idols have to learn how to persevere
Yes.
while being stung by bees.
And she's being filmed while she's doing it, but like she's just like overwhelmed and like freaking out the whole time. And at some point, actually, this is one of the ongoing gags, which I think I mentioned, is whenever she introduces herself, instead of saying Nanako, she always says Nanyako because she stutters. And she stutters on TV and she's like, hey, can we do another take? And they're like, we don't have the time or budget for another take. We're just going to go with it, right?
And she's like, oh no, my speech impediment, no, it's not my character trait. God damn it!
I am not a cat girl. So that's just one of the ongoing gags. So back at school, she's talking to her friends and is like, I'm not quite sure what this Locodol thing is. Like, we've been exterminating pests. We did that one performance. I'm still getting paid minimum wage. I don't know if this is what Yukari expected, and I'm not sure what she is thinking our group's gonna be. And then Nanako's friends are like, why don't you just talk to her? She goes to our school. And so she goes and talks to Yukari, and Yukari's like, it's okay. Like, the whole point, again, is not to become idols and also not quite civil servants. We're, like, towing the line of being, like, marketing, basically, right?
Mm-hmm. Have they talked about the concept of Locodols yet in the show?
Yeah, actually, I should have mentioned. So at the very first episode, when the uncle mentions what she's doing, they kind of talk about it. So the idea is they are girls who are idols for their small town, like not meant to be like big name, famous stage idols. And the idea is that they sing songs and market themselves and dance to promote tourism in their own small town.
Yeah, so it's like literal micro-influencers.
Yes.
For endorsing tourism.
Yes, endorsing tourism and then also encouraging townspeople to shop locally, basically. So nothing big scale. Like, especially these girls, they are being paid by the government, super small scale.
Yep. Fuck Jeff Bezos. Become Idaru.
Become Locodol. So they meet up top at the roof. They meet on the roof, right? And Yukari's like, yep, we're just trying to do what we can to be good Locodols and promote tourism. And it's all right, even if we're doing these weird jobs. And they like exchange phone numbers when they get a text from the uncle that they have another job. And their next job is they're going to be doing some filming around the local sites in town, and they're going to end with a food tasting. And Nanako is like freaking out because she's like, I'm going to be eating on camera. What if I like do something horrible and I gross everyone out, or I have like the wrong like manners when we're eating food. So she starts studying really hard, like what to do and how to eat properly. So the day comes for filming, and they go around town, and Nanako does okay. She's reading off her lines off a sheet of paper, and she delivers it relatively straight. And she's like, yes, nailed it. And then Yukari does her lines, and she does them like perfectly without reading off of paper, like memorizes them. And
She's off script.
And Nanako's like, oh shit, I still have a ways to go, don't I?
Oh, senpai, so impressive. Ugh.
Yes, yes. And then they get to the place for the food tasting, and Nana, like, this was the part that she was, like, freaking out about. She's like, I don't know if I'm gonna eat right. She was, like, trying to, like, memorize all of the table manners, and she shows up, and it's a sweet shop. And she's like, oh, I was expecting, like, a meal, not sweets. I don't know what to do for sweets.
Ah, shit.
Ah, shit. So, like, right before filming, Nana's just, like, freaking out. Like, what do I do? Who should I talk to? What should I look at? What should I say? What if I eat it and I don't like it? What if my face, like, ruins this sweet shop forever and he never sells anything ever again because I hate the food, right? Mm-hmm. And so, like, while she's musing this out loud, the sweet shop owner's like, I'm gonna go in the other room. And he's all, like, sad. And this whole thing kind of reminded me of, like, the Cinderella Girls bit, like, with Chieri and Kaneko, where, like, they were freaking out internally, but all they had to do was enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
So Yukari is like, hey, what if instead of freaking out so much, you just practice, right? So, like, take a bite of the food, react naturally, and then that'll just be our practice for when you do it on camera. And Nanako's like, okay, sure. So she bites into the sweet, and then she's, like, oohing and ahhing about how good it is and, like, describes it perfectly. And then Uncle's like, okay, and cut. I never told you I wasn't filming. Here we go. That's our take.
Hey, got him. Got him.
Got him. So she did good there. So it seems like overall, and then the sweet shop owner comes in and he's moved. So it's like they have a new fan. And again, there's a lot of jumping around because it's based off of 4 coma. So there'll be like, it feels like almost like there's 3 mini episodes in an episode a lot of the times. So if it feels like jumping around, it's because it's just slice of life, guys.
Yeah.
So,
it's SOL.
SOL.
Shit out of luck.
Shit out of life. What?
You
slice
you
out
wanted
of luck.
Continuity, you're SOL. Shit out of luck because it's slice of life.
Hey, well, there's continuity. It's just short.
No.
What? So the next day, Nanako is feeling more like into this Locodol thing. Like, they did good at filming. They just had their next TV broadcast. So she and Yukari message each other, and they decide to meet up at Yukari's apartment so they can talk about their plans for their idol group. Like, come up with a name, come up with, like, a big picture image, figure it all out. So she goes to Yukari's apartment. Yukari, like, lives on an entire, like, penthouse floor. Like, she doesn't share the floor with anyone else. And she lives alone. So you find out, like, her parents don't live with her. So Yukari, the whole time Nana's there and they're just talking about their plans, is, like, super stiff. And Nana's like, hey, so you're acting really stiff. It's almost as if you've never had a friend over at your house before. And then Yukari starts tearing up, and Nana's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit the nail on the head.
Oh.
So this is apparently, like, the first time she's hosted someone at her apartment.
Oh, baby.
So they end up having a good time. They, like, talk a lot and eat cake. And then as she's leaving, Nana, like, turns to Yukari and she's like, I'm really glad that you're my partner, and I feel like I can do anything as a Locodol with you. So it's just very cute. So the next day, they get their first paycheck, the thing that Nana's been hoping for.
Yay.
And she opens it up and she sees it's just their normal hourly wage. And apparently all of the work they've been doing, like exterminating pests and touring around and doing the sweet shop, was volunteer work.
Oof.
Because they're helping out the city. And then she starts complaining, but then the uncle's like, well, we could pay you, but it's the taxpayers' money. And then she's like, no.
It's like, oh, son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. My uncle got me there.
Fucking you got him. Got he.
But then he's like, but there's one thing. And then he hands them, like, an envelope, and he's like, the owner of the sweet shops wrote you, like, this heartfelt letter, and he gave us all these sweets because he thought you guys did a good job. And then there's a little cut of the sweet shop owner putting up a picture of him and the two girls in the front of his shop. So they made a meaningful
cute.
impact. Yeah.
Cute.
Next episode 3. So the girls are walking into City Hall for their job, and they're, I guess they got a notice from someone in City Hall, like they're going to make a new change to the marketing division. And so the girls are speculating, like, oh, maybe they're giving us a new member, right? Like, there's only 2 of us. Maybe there'll be a third person.
Gotta have that trio.
And they walk into the room, and there we meet another character. It is a blue blob. It's this blue blob. It has, like, it's precisely like 4'8". It has black, like, beady eyes, like a little happy mouth. And it has like a big mackerel, a fish on its back, and he's carrying a trident. And he is their new member, Uogokoro-kun.
That's quite a mouthful.
Uogokoro-kun. The uncle walks in, he's like, yep, this is our new member. It's a new local mascot. And he starts going in about local mascots, how like a lot of towns have them. They're great for merchandise and marketing, and kids love them. So we decided to have one of those, and he's going to work with you.
Yay!
And at that point, I was like, I wonder if this is a mascot or if it's like an actual like weird being, you know? Because sometimes anime go that way. And then he talks. Uogokoro-kun talks, and it's terrifying. He sounds like an alien from another world. The uncle's like, oh, its voice changer is malfunctioning. Don't worry about it. And you're like, oh, phew.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember this character is supposed to be like a personified raindrop or something.
Yeah, well, the city Nagarekawa, its like main selling point is it's alongside a canal that was designed like in the olden days by like a Dutch person. It's one of the first Dutch canals in Japan. And I think Nagareyama is the same way. It has that river, same picture. So
make sense.
He's supposed to be a drop of water from the canal, and he's holding a mackerel from the canal. So he's a symbol of the canal. And then the uncle's like, also, there's a kid inside, but they're nervous, so they're not coming out right now. You'll just perform with Uogokoro-kun today, and you'll meet the kid inside later. So I'm like, phew, there's someone inside.
It's not just an ancient being.
Look, it happens in slice of life anime. It's common.
I'm just thinking about Chio's dad from Azumanga Daioh.
Exactly.
Similar vibe.
Oh, it kind of gave me the feeling of like a more recent one, another gay one, like a Dachi and Shimamura. There's like just a random alien that just shows up and talks to them. And I'm like, is this like the alien?
Okay.
But there's someone inside this guy. So they go on stage, and they introduce Uogokoro-kun. All the kids are so excited about this cute mascot character. Until he talks and has the terrifying voice. But they're like, oh, it's okay. He has a sore throat. We'll interpret for him.
Sarah, I'm gonna need you to give me your best approximation of this voice, please.
I mean, it's like raspy and Uogokoro-kun. But like, here's the thing is like, it has like a lot of synthesis on it. So I can't. Now. Maybe I'll edit it. We'll see if I remember to edit it.
Okay, here, give me a line. Just be like, hello, I am Uogokoro-kun.
Hi, I'm Uogokoro-kun.
Okay, and if that is synthesized, you know that Sarah got the voice changer working in whatever program she was in.
Hey. So he goes on stage, terrifying, but then Nanako is surprisingly good at interpreting what Uogokoro-kun wants to say with his body movements. And that also becomes a running gag where Uogokoro will just do a random gesture and Nanako's like, oh yes, this is exactly what it means, interpretation.
Interpretive dance.
Yes. But he wins the audience over by doing a backflip. And apparently...
Incredible dexterity.
Apparently that's one of the biggest traits of Uogokoro-kun from now on is he can backflip.
The forbidden technique!
The forbidden technique!
Sarah, he knows the forbidden technique!
This is why it's an idol show! Idol Illuminati! Confirmed. I can't believe that they learned that Honoka Love Live learned the forbidden technique from random girls in Locodol.
Yep.
So backstage, they go up to Ugokoro-kun and they're like, "You did such a good job on stage. Like your backflip was sweet. What a good job." And then Ugokoro-kun reaches up and pulls off his head, revealing a cute girl inside. The character I instantly latched onto because relatable.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Her name is Yui. She has brown hair, blunt bangs, and most of her hair is like sticking up straight from her head in like a tiny ponytail. So at first they think she's an elementary schooler because of her height. At first she's like super shy and doesn't talk a lot. And even though she's cute, they're like, "Why weren't you just like a Locodol instead of being a mascot character?" And she's like, "I get nervous when people look at me directly."
Fair.
Also, I don't have any idol talents. I can't dance. I can't sing. All I can do is backflip. And everyone's like, that's pretty good, actually.
That's pretty cool, though. You can backflip in the fucking mascot costume.
Right?
Like, there's strong fucking legs.
And then there's a little gag where, like, she takes off the rest of her suit and she's, like, fucking stacked. And they're like, "Oh, she's not a child. She's a high schooler." She is boobled.
She's just short.
She's just short.
Like Sarah.
Yeah, I love her. Relatable. I'm short. I'm not that young. So later at school, she runs up to them. Apparently, she also goes to the same school as them. And in fact, you actually had seen her before. She's also been in the background. Usually just called out by name because like she's in the drama club and she's like wearing costumes. So the first time you meet her, she's in like a lion mascot suit and someone's just like, "Yui, you're doing a good job." So it's just cute little, like, you see them before.
Cute, cute, cute.
So she formally introduces herself, and now she's part of the group as herself as Yui, not just Ugokoro-kun. So there's just some more, like, chill slice of life stuff. I do want to point out that Yukari has a good friend in school, and she refers to Nanako as Yukari's wife a lot because they act like because they're married.
I don't. Sarah's loving this.
I love it.
Loving every moment of it.
I'm here for me. It might be Yuri bait, but I'm bait. I'm on the hook. I'm here.
Pull me in, fisherman.
Pull me in.
I am Sarah. You're the mackerel.
I am the mackerel on the hook, reeled in by Ugokoro-kun. And so everyone starts. They introduce their friends to Yui, but they don't like quite say who Yui is because Yui's not comfortable saying that, you know, there's a person inside of Ugokoro-kun, you know? Mm-hmm. It's like Disney characters. You're like, there's nobody inside a Mickey Mouse.
Of course.
It just is. So they start talking about how things are changing. And at one point, their friends are like, "Hey, and like your performance with Ugokoro-kun, it was in the local paper." And they show them the paper. And also in the paper, they start reading it and they're like, "Oh, it's cool. We got some publicity." And wait, hold on. They're calling us the Nagarekawa girls. And so they're like, "Wait a second. Is this our name now?" And they're like, "This is too hokey. We don't like it." But everyone else is like, "Everyone's calling you that now." So they have a new name, the duo. They're the Nagarekawa girls, named by the papers, unable to change their name from the hokey name.
There you go. Mm-hmm. See, this is why you gotta establish a brand for yourself up front.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. They took too long.
Yeah, you took too long, and so they decide on something for you. It's like, if you're a serial killer, if you don't want, if you want to decide your name, you gotta tell people, you know? I got onto a rant on Twitter a couple weeks ago about how we would have significantly fewer serial killers if they just gave them stupid names in the papers. And so maybe if you want more idol groups, you gotta give them better names.
Yep. I agree.
It's like the opposite. Idols are intrinsically the opposite of serial killers.
Okay.
And now I'm waiting.
I know. I'm like, wait. I'm sure. I'm sure they'll be. They make idol shows out of everything.
They make idol shows out of everything. Where is my murder idol show? I mean,
give us the murder idols.
Perfect Blue was sort of there.
No. We need like
kinda.
We need the actual idols to be the murderers.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Yes.
I'm waiting, anime companies.
And we're not talking about, like, murder shows with anime We're not talking about, like, a Danganronpa. We're talking, like...
We've already done that.
Yes.
Danganronpa with idols has been done. It's not an anime. It's a video game. It was never brought over into English. So we'll probably never be able to do it for the podcast, which breaks my little heart, first of all, because I am a known fan of the murder genre. But no, yeah, I want to see just fucking, like, darks, evil idols who are just fucking killing people backstage.
Yep. So not murder with idol side characters. Idols with murder.
I want to see an idol girl covered in blood. We should move on.
And moving on to our casual slice of life anime. So it's time for their next performance. This one is Ugakoro-kun's, like, actual debut. And to go along with it, they are given a new song for Ugakoro-kun. And the Nagarekawa girls, which are Yui and Nana, or not Yui, which are Yukari and Nana, are given their uniforms, which are not, like, super involved idol uniforms. They're just, like, a pink top with, like, red detailing and a red skirt and, like, a little yellow, like, sweater around their waist. So nothing too fancy because they're Locodolls.
They don't have a budget.
Yes.
Because it's taxpayer money.
Because it's taxpayer money. And Nana's kind of nervous because so far they've only ever sung the Nagarekawa song on stage. But Yukari goes up to her and is like, "It's okay. I know we'll be able to break out of our shell. We'll transform like a butterfly coming out of its chrysalis. It'll be all right." And Nana's like, "Yes, I can do it. We can transform. We can transform this town. We can transform this city. And we can make Ugakoro-kun shine." So they go on stage. They introduce themselves. Oh, also, something when they introduce themselves, I'm not sure when this first happens, but they start introducing themselves as their title within, like, their civic servant position. So Nanako calls herself the general manager of Nagarekawa's advertising division, Nanyako. And then Yukari calls herself the Nagarekawa cheer squad captain. It's just pretty cute.
Cute.
So that's what they call themselves. And then they start singing the Ugakoro-kun theme. Which is like this town's baby shark because they sing it all the time and it's very catchy.
Baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark.
So it's definitely for kids, right? Like, it's very cutesy and it's just talking about, like, this is Ugakoro-kun's story and he's just this brave little mascot character, right? And then one of our idol tropes, check it off the bingo card. It starts raining.
No, the power! Or the rain.
The rain. And the audience starts dispersing, right? And they're like, "Oh no, this was our song debut. Ugakoro-kun's big break. And we just got our cute outfits. What are we gonna do?" And then Nana, like, flashes back to Yukari talking about, like, being like butterflies and breaking out of their chrysalises and transforming themselves. And she's like, "I have an idea." And so then she strips her outfit off, revealing a bathing suit underneath, but she's stripped nonetheless. Forces Yukari to strip into her bathing suit also. The crowd goes wild. They finish their Ugakoro-kun song. Ugakoro/Yui is just, like, styling and they're, like, flipping and they're flopping in there. So mascot character's doing fine. And during all of this, Nanako's friends are, like, in the audience watching, and they're like, "Wow, Nanako's really become an idol. She's very different on stage. Wait, what did she just strip? Either way, we'll support her." So the townspeople are recognizing these girls as something.
Something. Don't know if they're idols yet, but they sure are something. They're a noun.
Episode 4, there's, like, a little gag about, like, how on the news popular idols have been getting, like, their clothes stolen by perverts or something, and Nanako, like, being on edge. And then she walks into City Hall that day, and there is a random person messing with their clothes. And she's like, oh no. And so she like runs out and she's like, it's a stalker, it's a pervert, right? Like she's freaking out and she bumps into Yukari and Yukari's like, I know I am, but please don't say it to my face, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they all go into the room together and it turns out this person is not a stalker, it's their new manager. So a new character. Her name is Sayori. She also wears glasses like the uncle, so you can't see her eyes very much, but sometimes you can. Just she does like the, pensive Kyoya glint,
Gotcha.
She has like ashy, dark mid-brown hair, I guess. It's like wavy and it's like shoulder length. She has kind of like Star vibes as far as looking at her.
Hey.
She's good. She is definitely a manager type. She like schemes a little bit. You could tell she's a super fan of these idol girls. Later on, it's implied in one of the OVAs, which I will not go over, that she's also a cosplayer, which is kind of fun.
Cute.
Yes. So she always wears like a pencil skirt and shoot because she works for the city.
Nice.
So during the whole episode, like whenever they do stuff, she's just like in the back taking a ton of pictures. And you like get more on her that like she the whole time was a secret fangirl of the Nagarekawa girls and basically like already worked for City Hall but kind of wrestled her way into the position because she wanted to work for the idol group.
Nice.
Later, the girls find out through their friends that the Nagarekawa girls have a fan site and has a lot of pictures and articles. And it's basically it's implied that it's Sayori. She's just been taking the pictures and articles and posting them as promotion.
Fucking amazing.
So that's the gag with the manager. So we'll wrap that part up. And then there's another little bit where after school, Yukari and Nana go to like a shopping center. Like it's pretty much one of the only things to do in the town. So they're at the shopping center a lot. And they do a lot of performances in the parking lot of the shopping center. But this time they're just there scouting it out. And they end up in like the kids area. So like there's just like little like animal like bicycles to ride and a bunch of kids playing. And the kids start gathering around. They're like, oh, hey, aren't you the girls who sing with Ugo Koro-kun? Like, because the kid's like the mascot character. And they keep bothering the two of them until like Yukari's like, yes, we are. And we'll sing a song together. So they like start singing the Ugo Koro-kun song and the kids are all happy. There's a random mascot character in the back that's a bunny and handing out balloons who's like dancing along. And they're like, strange that the bunny is that good. But later on, Yui's like, I was moved by your performance. So it's like Yui's in the suit. So they made the people happy. But in the end, the manager calls them and is like, hey, I heard about your performance. And even though people are really happy, just let me know ahead of time now because you're not working alone. Mm-hmm. And the girls are like, they feel chastised, but they're also like, even though we have to report to our manager about these things and stuff, it's kind of nice because it's just showing that the Nagarekawa girls aren't just the two of us. We're a big team. It's like us, but it's also City Hall and our manager and all the townspeople. So it's nice to have all these people behind our back. Yeah. Next episode 5. So all the girls are like doing their normal jobs. This time they're in that same shopping center parking lot. They're selling the local specialties, which are mirin wine and croquettes, which I think are also specialties of the real life place again, Nagareyama. So
would make sense. This totally fictional town,
Nagarekawa. The ka is important. And so, like, they do a good job at the local thing, but then the manager's like, hey, I want you girls to think about what you want the Nagarekawa girls to be. Like, we're doing good at these local events, but as Locodolls, we need to start thinking about a way to get your name out there to promote tourism into the town, not just within the town. So Yui, Yukari, and Nana later are all, like, eating lunch together, and they brainstorm, like, ways that they can grow Nagarekawa girls. And in doing so, they start talking about like why they became idols, right? And Yukari is like, I just wanted to see more of the world. And Yui says, I want to be a professional voice actor, so I'm doing this to save up money for acting school. And then Nanako's like, I'm doing this because I could get paid 1,000 yen an hour. Right? She's like, but I can't say that. But then she also flashes back and remembers like when she was little, she like wrote a paper in elementary school saying when she grew up she wanted to be an idol. So she's like, well, I guess that's kind of funny. That's that. But all of them are like, well, all of our original reasons are separate, but our dream is to promote Nagarekawa's like tourism. So they all resolve that their first goal, their first big goal that they're going to work hard towards in the next few months or years is to appear on national television and promote their town. And they're all happy and excited with their new resolve when they get a text message from their manager saying that they're going to be on national TV. And they're like, we put no effort into this, what? And they're like freaking out.
Oh no.
So the national television program that they're appearing on is the National Cute and Loose Characters Day. So it's basically like a field day for town mascot characters.
Yeah, I remember this bit.
But the Nagarekawa girls will be there too. They will be introducing Ugakura-kun, singing his song, and doing like a little bit on TV to promote the town. So Nana is like, how am I supposed to promote the town? I don't know what to say about the town. So after this, they're like, okay, to prepare for the Cute and Loose Characters Day, we'll go around town and we'll look at the local sites. And so there's a lot of little scenes around town, like they go to the river and they go to this cafe and they go to the city hall and the local shrine. So it's just a lot of little tourism, and a lot of these places show up again in later episodes. So it's just laying out the scenes.
Reusing backgrounds.
Yes. This is also where you find out about Ugakura-kun's design being that he's like the river mascot, I guess, with a fish.
I represent the river.
Yes.
My name is Ugakura-kun, and I speak for the river.
I speak for the river. And there's like a little shrine by the river, and they all like give a prayer at it, and like, you know, like Yui's like, I hope Ugakura-kun makes everyone happy. But like Nana her prayer is like, I hope things resolve nicely without a deduction to anyone's salary, which I just enjoy how practical she is.
It's so good.
Episode 6, it is time for the Cute and Loose Characters Field Day.
Whoa!
So the event is being pre-filmed, so it's not like a live thing. So there's a little less pressure there. And it opens with just like a cute little sequence of all the mascot characters introducing Cute and Loose Field Characters Day. And there's like a mouse and like a star with a black body and like Ugakura-kun, right? And then it cuts to backstage, and it's all the mascot characters like taking off their heads, and they're all like these buff guys, a lot of them a lot older, and they're just all sweaty and sighing because of how hot it is.
No.
It's like the illusion. It's been taken away.
The illusion's been shattered. Oh God.
So after the characters are on their break after filming the introduction, it's time for all of the like, I guess, for Disney terms, face characters to go on and like introduce their town. Mm-hmm. And this is the part that Nana and Yukari were like nervous about, because this is when they have to go and talk. Sayori's like, oh, I'm not going to give you a script. Just go on and talk about the things you learned when you toured around the town last episode. And they're like,
Just go with the flow. Just do what comes naturally. Well, what comes naturally is taking our clothes off and wearing swimsuits instead.
Yeah. So they go on scriptless, and Nana opens up with like, Nagarekawa doesn't have anything special at all. And then she pauses, and then Sayori's like, oh shit. And then she's like, but that's just how it seems on the outside. And then Yukari's like, and you can find out more at our website.
Here's a QR code.
Yes. But at the end, she says a tagline, which is good city, good people, Nagarekawa. And that tagline also shows up a few times. So that's like a running tagline that they ended up giving their town that they didn't have before.
Yeah.
And then it's back to mascot characters. So they're off their break. It's a field day, so there's all sorts of different events. The first one is like a multi-character wrestling match where like each of the mascot suit characters have like to push the other person out, like sumo style, out of the circle, right?
Oh boy.
One of the characters is kicking butt. It's the star with the black bodysuit, but the star is definitely played by a different person at this point because he went from having a cute little like round body to being like super buff with the star head.
Oh. Oh.
So incredibly intimidating. Uogo Korakun, meanwhile, has not been matched up against the star, thankfully, just other mascot suit characters, but you also know that, like, it's little Yui inside and all the other characters are these big buff men, so you're like, oh no.
Oh no.
So Nana and Yukari start singing the Uogo Korakun theme in the background while Uogo Korakun / Yui starts, like, doing the competition. And Uogo Korakun does good because the other people keep disqualifying themselves.
Oops.
Like, one person trips and their head rolls off. Another person, like, jumps up on stage but then gets a back cramp. There's an obstacle course where, like, you know, they have to jump and eat the loaf of bread, but, like, you could see the person's hand underneath, so the competitor gets disqualified. So the announcer is starting to say, like, oh, Uogo Korakun is starting to win because his special talent is inflicting bad luck on other people.
Oh shit. This reminds me of, have you seen that, I'm not sure if it was at the Olympics, but like it's that skating competition where it's just like a bunch of dudes and they're all skating. It's like an ice skating race. And just like everybody behind, like the guy is in last place, but then everybody in front of him trips and so he ends up getting first.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's just like that. So Yui backstage is upset and worried that, like, this idea that Uogo Korakun is cursing the other players is going to make the city look bad. But, like, Nanako is like, no, you're doing great, and, like, pumping her up, like, being like, we're going to win this thing. You're going to win this thing. Also, Sayori comes in and she's like, also, it's okay because you're just giving more airtime for Uogo Korakun, so you're promoting the city. So we're good.
There you go.
So in the end, Uogo Korakun makes it to the finals. So out of, like, I don't know, maybe like 20 characters, he's in the top 8. And the next event is like where they're all wearing, all the mascot characters are wearing headbands and they have to steal the headbands off the other characters. And Yui at first is like down, like, I don't want to win just based on luck, right? So she's like not quite sure what to do and just floundering. And then all of the other mascot characters that she like beat by technicalities are in the audience and they start gesturing and like giving her like gesturing words of encouragement. Like,
Cute.
you can do it, like, just be strong, never give up. It's just all these mascot characters. And then Uogo Korakun starts shining and taking all the headbands.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just a very cute sequence. And in the end, he is in the semifinals, Uogo Korakun. But in the semifinals, the first person he's going up against in, once again, a 1-to-1 wrestling match is Buff Starman.
No!
So Yui's like, I don't know if I can win this one backstage. And Sayori's like, what are you talking about? The goal was never to win. It's just to have screen time. And she's like, so don't focus on winning. Just focus on not, like, hurting yourself because this buff man could hurt you.
Yeah, don't let the buff man get you down.
So she goes on stage and she's like determined not to get hurt. And Buff Starman goes in with like a multi-hit like aura attack, right? And so Yui does what she does best and she tries to dodge it by doing a flip.
Yeah, the forbidden technique!
The forbidden technique, she ends up flipping onto him, right? Knocking him over and knocking herself over, and then it fades. And Starman, in the end, wins. And you find out that Yui did hurt herself.
Oh no!
Even though they told her not to.
It's the one thing!
So she didn't win. She would have won because she took Starman out, but she hurt herself so she couldn't get back up, so she lost.
No, heckin' rip.
But Sayori like checks on her and she's mostly okay at this point. She just needed to rest. And she's like, hey, even though you hurt yourself, I'm glad that you did your best and you did good enough and it's okay. And then like Nana and Yukari show up and they're like giving her hugs and like, you did so good, your flip was amazing. And then like all the other half-dressed mascot people are like looking from afar being like, oh, look at these girls and their friendship, it's so sweet, you know?
Look at these main characters being adorable.
And then at the end of the day, they're all waiting for their ride to go home because I guess like the uncle came and picked them up. And while they're waiting, Huey like falls asleep because she's exhausted. And a guy comes over and he introduces himself as the person who was inside of the Starman. And he's like, wow, I had no idea that the person inside of Ugo Korakuen was just like a small child.
It's like, oh shit, well now I kind of feel a little bad.
Yeah, and then Nanako's like, well, Ugo Korakuen would want to say thank you very much. We don't want to wake him up right now. And also, we're glad that you won. And then the guy's like, well, I know I will definitely visit Nagarekawa because of all the cute and friendly people there, right?
Aww.
And then the girls are happy because like they achieved their goal in getting more tourism. And then they go home and fall asleep on like in the back of the van together, and it's cute.
Cute.
Episode 7. It's the day of the broadcast of Cute and Loose Characters Day. All the 3 main girls are like kind of nervous to watch, but like everyone in Nagarekawa is excited. Nana's mom bought like a DVR, and so her grandparents apparently bought like a whole TV. But she's like, I'm gonna show up for like 30 seconds and like introduce our town, and that's it. So meanwhile, Yukari that night isn't unable to watch the show because she's a fancy rich girl and she has to go to a fancy rich party. So she is not watching. And Yui's family also throws a party, but it's like just a small one at their house. It looks like she has a big family, like lots of siblings, lots of cousins. A lot of them seem to be living and working in the same house.
Yeah.
And then as the broadcast comes on, Yukari again is not able to watch it. She's doing her thing with her. You meet her grandpa a little bit, and her aunt apparently is throwing the party. Yui and her family are starting to watch, and then the family's power goes out because of all the people there and all the things they've been doing for the party. So she can't watch. And Nanako and her family are watching, but then as soon as she comes on stage, like everyone starts texting her, including like the person in the sweet shop and the beekeeping company. And so she's like too busy answering texts to watch, which which actually is very realistic if you think, you know?
Yeah, too real.
The only time she does look up is like not during her performance. She has a little break and her parents are like, oh, look, there's some other Locodolls. And you see some characters you'll meet later. They're the Awa Awa girls, or Awa 2 girls.
Awa Awa.
They're just other Locodolls, and they do very good on TV. And when they get into school, the next day, all 3 of them are like, I'm so sorry I didn't get to watch the performance. But they like say it at the same time. So they're like, it's okay, we'll watch it together, which is cute.
Cute.
So that is the end of that little arc. The next day, they go into City Hall. And Nana walks in and she sees Ugo Korakuen and he waves at her and she waves back, and then Yui walks in and she's like, wait a second, if you're there, who's in there? And so she starts freaking out, being like, who is inside Ugo Korakuen if it's not Yui?
Imposter.
It's an imposter. A Mogus.
I saw Ugo Korakuen vent.
And Sayori comes in, the manager, and she's like, well, Yui's work has been getting crazy. Like, Ugo Korakuen's been invited to all of these events, like even out of city. And like Yui herself physically doesn't have the time to do all of them, so we hired someone else to also be Ugo Korakuen.
Whoa, two Ugo Korakuen.
And they're like, we planned on doing it earlier, but it was hard to find someone who could work hourly for really cheap and is also 146 centimeters tall. So...
which is short.
He's short. And then Ugo Korakuen takes off his head, and we see our next main character. Her name is Mirai. She has like orangey brown hair and 2 low ponytails. She's kind of the Yukiho personality of the show, so just like super shy and meek.
Shy baby.
And as practice at the next event, she will be inside of Ugo Korakuen, and Yui will be her mentor.
But the important thing is, can she do sick flips?
Well, we'll talk about that later.
Oh no!
So she goes on stage, and she does really well. Like, despite her shy personality, like her movement is really bombastic. She asks for some advice, but Nanako's like, I'm not sure if I can teach you anything. You did good. And then also at the very end, after this Ugakoro-kun performance, they're selling Ugakoro-kun merch at like a little booth in the shopping center. And a lady comes up and she's like, "Hey, aren't you the Nagarekawa girls? I saw you on TV and I came to visit the city because of you." So it's another
shit.
They're promoting tourism. It's working. Next episode. So those are kind of setups for this episode, episode 8. Mirai is still too shy to talk to any of the other girls, right? Because she's the Yukiho.
She's a baby.
Nanako tries to like break her out of the shell, like takes her to karaoke, tries to find commonalities, but she's just like too shy to talk.
Oof.
So she goes up to Yui and is like, "Hey, this is kind of hard. I really want her to feel like she can be loose with us, but I feel like I'm just scaring her. So do you have any advice on how to get close to Mirai?" And Yui's like, "Well, I'm sure if you talk to her and spend time with her, it'll be okay, because I know her really well, because actually I'm the one who scouted her to be Ugakoro-kun, because she's in drama club here with me." And you're like, oh.
Cool.
So later on at work, they're like, "Hey, Nana, why don't you work with Mirai and help her do Ugakoro-kun stuff so you can get closer, wink, wink, right? Like, it's a way to get them to be close." Like, Nanako, like, gives advice because, again, she's the Ugakoro-kun whisperer. Like, she can always tell what Ugakoro-kun means in his movements, like we found out at the beginning. So she gives her advice, like, be a little more wobbly with your arms or be a little more loosey-goosey, and she, like, follows perfectly. And after Mirai's like, "I'm sorry you have to help someone like me practice so much." But Nana's like, "It's not like someone like you. We're friends. Like, this is not a burden on me. It's something I like to do. And also, all of us have the same goal of helping Nagarekawa, so I'm happy to help where I can." Which I think calms Mirai down, which is sweet. Mm-hmm. And then the next day, they're practicing, and Nana is helping Mirai perfect Ugakoro-kun's movements, which means practicing the forbidden technique.
The forbidden technique!
And so Mirai attempts to do a flip.
Do a flip.
And she flips, but she lands rough on her ankle and twists it.
Oh no!
And Sayori rushes in and is like, "Don't flip." And she's like, "But that's the thing Ugakoro-kun does." And she's like, "Actually, I've been trying to get Yui to stop flipping too, because it's encouraging all the children in the audience to flip, which is a bad idea."
Oh no! It really is the forbidden technique.
It's the forbidden technique.
For those who maybe haven't been listening to our podcast very long and aren't sure what we keep saying, the forbidden technique, we talked about that in the I7 episode too. Go back and listen to our Love Live Sunshine episodes and you'll get it.
If you want to hear Ultimate Chaos, listen to our Love Live episodes.
Yeah, our Love Live episodes always end up being the fucking weirdest ones. I don't know why.
Love Live and then Udapri, those are the ones that go chaos.
When are you gonna do season 3 of Udapri, Sarah?
When the people are ready. I don't know if they're ready for that yet.
Oh shit, you hear that, punks? You hear that? Sarah thinks you're not up to season 3 of Udapri.
The iDOL Illuminati will get us if we do it too quickly.
They already got us once.
They did. Sarahbot 3.0. Beep boop. So because Mirai hurt her ankle, Yui steps up and is like, "I know this was going to be your debut, like, fully as Ugakoro-kun, but I'll go in the suit. You'll be okay. We'll just get you next time, right?" So she goes on stage and does really good, but, like, by the time she steps off backstage, Yui is already pretty tired because she's been doing all these side jobs as Ugakoro-kun all week, right? Mm. And, like, during their rest time, Mirai is like, you work so hard, you do so good, like, I don't think I could live up to you. But Yui kind of reminisces to her, like, the reason why I chose you to be Ugakoro-kun is because when we're in drama club together, you're always helping out and you always notice when people need a break or, like, what to do to change their lines to make our performance better. And I can tell you're a really caring and observant person, which makes you a better Ugakoro-kun than anyone else, not just your height, right? Mm-hmm. Which, like, touches her a lot. And then Yui goes up to get back in the suit for her next performance and then, like, faints a little. And Mirai catches her. And she realizes, like, when she caught her that her ankle wasn't that bad. And she's like, "I'll go in the suit this time. It's okay." So she gets in the suit.
Sarah, get in the mascot suit, or else Yui will have to do it again.
Uh-oh. Get in the mascot suit, Mirai.
Eva reference! Clog that shit off your bingo sheet!
Da, 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 da. So, during like all of this discussion and her getting in the suit, Nana and Yukari are like doing other stuff, like they're being filmed. So they meet like Uegokoro-kun on stage and they start doing the performance and the song. And like they're observing Uegokoro-kun and they're like, oh, I guess Mirai's leg still hurts because that's definitely Yui in the suit because only Yui can move Uegokoro-kun perfectly like that.
Oh.
But then they go backstage and they see Yui and they're like, oh shit.
Wait a goddamn second!
So in the end, it was Mirai and they're all like, wow, you're perfect. We're so glad you did it. And then Mirai's like, I hope I didn't do too good because I don't want Yui to leave. And they all freak out. But Yui's like, I'm not leaving. They needed two people.
That's the whole point. That's the whole reason you are here.
They're all happy to work together as a team of 4 now.
Cute.
So next episode, episode 9, it starts out with some drama where Nana was talking to her friends and her friends are like, isn't it weird that all of the people in the tourism division all go to the same high school? Do you think your uncle has some shady dealings with like the principal or something? And Nana like goes and confronts her uncle being like, why are all these girls from the same school? And then the uncle's like, well, do you honestly want to know why I scouted you and Yukari? And Nana's like, yes, I definitely want to know. And he's like, well, Yukari I scouted because the former mayor recommended her. And Nanako's like, wow, that's crazy. That's a big deal. And you, Nanako, you're an idol because you're my niece. I'm in charge of this division. You won't give up and you're convenient. And she's like, okay.
Oof. Youch. Yowzers.
And then there's an event where Uegokoro-kun is train station master for the day. And they are MCs. Yukari is the main MC. Nanako is mostly there just to like help Yui guide Uegokoro-kun around.
The handler.
The handler.
Cosplay handler.
And Yukari is doing perfect as always, like introducing herself smoothly, always knowing what to say. At some point mid-filming, the former mayor shows up, the one mentioned earlier in the episode. And it turns out the former mayor is Yukari's grandpa, so it's nepotism in every way.
Hey!
But at the same time, Nanako's like, well, Yukari comes from like this prestigious background, but here she is just being a Locodol with me. Like, I feel like she's steeping low for this, but I'm, happy to meet her grandpa. But then they go backstage, and they still have like some more filming to do. Like this was like the opening of Station Master for the day, and they have stuff at the end of the day to be like the end of Uegokoro-kun's Station Master for the day. But during this downtime, Yukari starts like acting kind of funny. Like her cheeks get all blushy and then she's like just giggling to herself and being super clingy. And then they realize she has a fever. So she got sick.
Oh no.
And so Nanako takes over as the MC. She's her clumsy self, but like it's like all the townspeople know her for it. So they're all happy anyways. So the next day, Nana goes to Yukari's house to like take care of her. Yukari, when she's sick, is like extra clingy and extra lovey-dovey. So there's that. Nanako, meanwhile, is like still thinking like, why does Yukari put up with me? Like, I'm not as good as her. She has like this prestigious background why she's a Locodol with me, even like while she's sick. She's thinking about this. So Nanako's there. She's taking care of her. Yukari's happy because she's super gay. And there's a point where like Nanako goes in the other room to heat up porridge, and then we have a flashback. And this is a flashback of the time that Yukari met Nanako for the first time. And what happened was Yukari was working at the shopping center, the only shopping center, and she was a mascot character there handing out balloons. And while she was handing out balloons, she ran into a little girl, and the little girl was lost. And like while she was employed, she's like, I don't know what I should do. I had my post. I know I wasn't supposed to leave it. I didn't want to get fired, but there's this little girl. And then Nanako walks up. And Nanako like goes down and talks to the little girl and calms her down and like asks her what she can do. And Yukari is like talking to Nanako like, hey, are you an employee or something? You seem to know what to do. And Nanako's like, oh no, I just want to take care of someone when they're crying. And Nanako's like, and I'll go help this girl find her parents. I'll take her to security. You can keep handing out balloons. It's okay. I know you have a job to do. But then Yukari's like moved by like how Nanako like stopped her shopping trip to help this little girl and is like, I'll help her too. So they go around and look for the little girl's mom together, and they end up finding it. At the end of the day, the store Nanako went to go to, I think it was to get her high school uniform, so a relatively important trip, was closed. So she's like, oh, I'll just come back next time, but it was worth it to find that little girl's mom. And Yukari's like, wow, this like really changed me from just being like someone going through motions to being like, I can break out and make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so back in real time, she's looking at Nanako, who's like feeding her porridge out of a spoon, and is like, Nanako, I'm really glad you're my partner. And then Nanako's like, I'm really glad you're my partner too. And then they're like,
cute.
Yeah. And then Yukari starts talking about how when she heard that Nana was going to be the other Locodol, she was just happy and excited to work with her. Like, she didn't even worry about how they would mesh because she knew they would get along. And then Nanako like is like, yeah, and I feel the same way. I feel like it's really fate that we're together. And it's like, oh.
Yep.
And the next day at school, Yukari is better, but she fakes sick a little bit, so Nanako dotes on her, which is pretty great. Yeah, she's good. Episode 10. Sayori, their manager, announces that she submitted them to be entered in the Locodol Festival, which is a 2-day competition for Locodols around the area. Perfect for them. But she's like, but also, the only downside is it's the same weekend as the summer festival, so if you want to do it, it's going to be really busy. But Nanako and Yukari are like, yeah, we'll do it. It doesn't matter how busy it is.
What in the Love Live Sunshine? Which technically came after this, I think.
I can't believe Love Life Sunshine stole from Locodol.
How rude.
So they all agree. And then Sayori's like, well, one thing though, since you did agree, I have a request of you. And that is that you girls write a new song for the Nagarekawa girls.
Cross that trope off the list.
Write a song. And they're like, why does it have to be us? Like, Ugakoro-kun got like a song custom written. And then Sayori's like, well, we don't have time and we don't have budget, so write a song.
We're going to make the amateurs do it.
Yep. So they decide to divvy up the work. So Yukari like volunteers herself for doing the music because she knows piano. Yui is like, I will do choreography because I can do flips and shit. And so they're like, so I guess that means Nana, you're writing the lyrics.
Womp.
Womp. And so she's like hesitant, but she's like, well, I guess if that's the only way. And then she goes to her uncle, and her uncle's like, yep, and if you write the song, you'll get royalties off of it. And she's like, this is a world I don't understand, and just like freaks out. So all the girls split up. Yui starts like you can see her just doing dancing. Yukari is at the piano and she's working hard. Mirai actually even steps in, even though she's preoccupied with Ugakoro-kun work during the week. She's like, well, I'll just study a bit on like grammar and stuff so I can help edit Nana's lyrics when she's done. Nanako, meanwhile, is just like the scene from SpongeBob where she's just like, what I learned in boating school is. Like, she does
what
not.
I learned being an idol is.
Like, she has no idea what to write.
Relatable.
So, like, she comes in, like, the next few days and is like, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. And, she's clearly stressed and distracted, like, during work and school. And, at some point, Yukari is like, well, why don't you just, like, write about the Nagarekawa girls, like, what we've done and stuff. And she, like, is like, oh, yes, perfect, I got it. And she writes it out, but it's just, like, a list of, like, all of their horrible menial tasks they do, like clearing beehives. Wow. And they're like, well, maybe not like this, which sends Nana back into the stress spiral. So even her friends at school try to give her advice, but, like, she just can't break it. Like, she's like, I don't know how to write about the Nagarekawa girls in a way that feels good in a song, because I've never written a song before. So after school, Nanako's like on the verge of like giving up, right? And she's like, I'll talk to Yukari. So she and Yukari go on a date after school. And she's like, hey, I need help writing these lyrics because I don't know how to express the feelings about Nagarekawa girls I have. And Yukari's like, yes, sure, but let's not just do it in one place. And then they go on like a tour around town and they eat sweets and they hang out at Yukari's house and they watch movies and they take a bath together. And then like the whole time they're brainstorming lyrics together. And I guess there's some like text overlaid, like where Nanako's saying like during just the time of them having fun, they casually came up with lyrics. So when the pressure was off, the lyrics flowed. And also when they went on their cute date.
There we go.
Because they're in love.
According to Sarah.
I think according to the show, to be honest. So the next day, she shares the lyrics with Mirai, who immediately goes and edits and returns them back to her like within the hour, and they're better than ever before. So check mark, that editing's done. And then they hand off the lyrics to Yui, and she comes back the next day with choreography. Check mark, that's done. And Yukari's like, oh, and I also wrote the music, so that's done. And then like Nanako's like, well, I took like a week, and you guys all took like a few hours, so womp. But then they're like they had all of that done, and they're all at school, and they're like, well, only thing left to do is to practice for the fest. And they're like, well, why don't we go downstairs to the drama club and practice? So they go and they practice their new song. And all of their friends and teachers are there watching them because they're all excited, which is pretty cute. Mm-hmm. And like Nanako's friends are observing again, and like they just start monologuing about how Nanako's grown. So it's like, oh, she's doing good. She wrote her own lyrics. She's really invested. It's to her, to them, it seems like she's taking this more seriously than someone would just take a part-time job. So they're proud of her.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the episode, they deliver the new song to Uncle and Sayori. And Sayori's like, yep, we'll get this like professionally arranged because we have budget for that, I guess.
For that.
There's a little joke where they're like, well, who wrote the Ugakoro-kun song? And the uncle steps in and is like, oh, it was me. I was in a band in college. And you're like, oh, okay. The stiff man.
Okay, dude.
Okay, dude. And then Nanako speaks up and she's like, I know we wrote this so we could enter the Locodol festival with it. But to me, I was really inspired after going on this date around town with Yukari. And I feel like because we're Locodols, the right thing to do would be to debut it here locally in town before the big fest. Yeah. And so all the girls agree, and then Uncle and Sayori are like, well, it'll be worse for publicity, but I don't think it matters that much, so sure. So at the next event, which again is in the parking lot of the shopping mall, they go out and there's like only like a scattering of people, like there's not very many, but either way they're very encouraged because they're like, well, this is who our music is really for, is the people of our town. And they go out and they start singing, and then it's the end of the episode.
Oh.
So you don't get to see their song yet. But it's okay, because we'll get there soon.
Next episode, I hope.
Either this one or the next one, but soon. Episode 11, it is time for the Locodol Festa. So you find out that there are 12 groups competing, which is more than previous years. I guess there's no prize money. Like, it's just like whoever wins gets, I guess, a lot of publicity. Notoriety. Last year, Awa Awa Girls won last year. And they're the ones that you saw on TV before during the Cute and Loose Characters Day. And apparently, ever since they won, they've been doing so good that they're like almost like the same level as professional idols in popularity. So it's like a big deal. It's a 2-day event. The first day, all of the groups will have like booths and they'll be selling local goods and doing like a little like stage talk on like their group. And then the next day is the music competition. So they get to the place where the festival is. They have to take the train. I'm assuming if this is based off of like the real life Nagareyama, maybe like I would assume like an event like this would be in Tokyo. So they probably took like the hour and 15-minute train to get there, right?
Yeah.
So when they get there, they meet the people at their stall, which are selling the Mirin soda and croquettes and orange jello, which they did like in previous episodes. So it's what the town's known for, so they're selling it. And also while they're there, they start meeting some other Locodolls. So this is like their first time meeting other Locodolls. Their booth is right next to Awa Awa Girls, but the girls aren't there. But there's like a ton of people swarming their booth, like for merchandise of like their pictures and like T-shirts, right?
Nice. Hey, Sarah, quick aside about Awa Awa Girls, because I was curious and I'm still on the Locodol Wikipedia page. I looked it up. So one of the members is voiced by Chihaya. One of them is voiced by Honoka Love Live. And then the third one, I don't recognize her name, but she was apparently Suki in the Love Live Sunshine movie.
There we go.
She's also in Bang Dream. She's Michelle, which I believe is like a mascot character. Oh, she's Miria from Cinderella Girls.
Hey, that's why Awa Awa Girls is popular, because they're idols.
There you go, because they're all like...
They're idols.
Idaru voice actors.
Yep. And then also across the way is like another like very popular idol group booth. So they start meeting some of the other Locodolls, specifically the people across from them, and they just start having casual conversation of like what it's like to be a Locodoll. And like Nana's like, yeah, I really hate it when we have to do like the bee exterminating and all this volunteer work. And they're like, you have to what now?
What?
And then they're like, yeah, you know, we're employed by the city for 1,000 yen an hour. And they're like, how much? Because I guess all of the other groups are pretty much not city employees. Most of the other Locodolls are like working for talent agencies, which are contracted to by the city. So they're like actually idols, not just like city employees with random girls. Mm-hmm. At some point, the Awa Awa Girls go on stage. They like have a very like dominating stage presence, like very idly, very happy. The audience like kind of, or all the audience like goes from like the stall area to go and watch them just because they're that popular.
Yeah.
So like Yukari and Nana are both a little like intimidated because they're like, maybe we don't actually have a good chance at this competition. So Sayori eventually tells them to go on break, right? Because it's like a hot day. And Yukari is like, hey, I have an idea, Nana. This might help us become less nervous for tomorrow. And she takes Nanako to go to the place where they're going to have their performance the next day, which is a theater. It's not like a giant like idol theater. It's definitely made for like a local dole event, right?
Yeah.
Just like a normal theater-sized theater. And when they go in, who else is there scouting out the place but the Awa Awa Girls?
Oh, rivalries.
Yes. So they end up saying hi. Both the groups say hi to each other. The Awa Awa Girls are very surprisingly like normal when they talk to them. They're not like huffy idols. They're just like, oh yeah, we're just normal high school girls too. They start like reminiscing about like what it was like when they were less popular idols, like Nagarekawa, when they were less popular idols, like Nagarekawa girls. Too many syllables.
You can do it, I believe in you.
Nagarekawa girls. Because I guess ever since they won the competition last year, they've been so popular that they can't be out in public without disguises. They can't help with their local booth because it gets swarmed. And last year, they were able to do all these things, and it was way more fun just to enjoy the time with the people in the city that they were close to. So they tell the Nagarekawa girls, like, enjoy it, have fun, like, that's what we wish we could do, right? And overall, they just have, like, some friendly rivalry going around, like, not any mean girl stuff, just like, oh, we'll definitely beat you, or, oh, our town has the best goods, like, just cute little stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
friendly rivalry.
Yeah. So after this, Nanako is especially inspired because it kind of refocused her again to be less like we have to win the competition and more of like we're Locodolls, so our point is promoting our town. Like we're not idols, we're Locodolls. Mm-hmm. So before they go on stage to present their booth, Nanako's like, I have an idea, right? So when they go up, instead of being like, hey, we are Nagarekawa girls, we're idols, she goes up and she's like, hey, we're from Nagarekawa, there's our booth, here's what we're selling, here's our cute mascot, come visit our town. So again, more focused on promoting tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah. And while they're doing this, the Awa Awa girls are like in the back in their disguises and they're looking like serious, like this is definitely something that they would do. Good job.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. So after their little like stage introduction, the line for the food stall is like long, and like all the kids are there to see Ogokoro-kun. And then all the stall workers are like really enthusiastic. Like Nana and Yukari are like happily handing out croquettes. And even Mirai is like calling out to like the crowd, being like, "Come here," which is a big deal because she's the shy one. And at the end of the day, their stall sells out of all of the local goods. So they're like really happy about it. They noticed that the stall next door, the Awa Awa Girls stall, did actually sell out of all the Awa Awa Girls merchandise. And Nanako's like, I wonder if one day we'll sell out of our merchandise like that, even though we don't have merchandise right now.
Someday we'll be sellouts.
But meanwhile, the Awa Awa Girls are also aside in their own like little area, and they're looking at Nagarekawa's booth, and they're like, looks like they sold out of all their local goods. We only sold out of our merchandise, and we didn't sell out of our local goods. It feels like our city, like our Locodol priority isn't right. Like we need to refocus and focus more on our town. So the next day will be the performance. That night, Nanako is too nervous to sleep. She's sharing a hotel room with Yukari. And she's like, I don't know if I can sleep. I'm too nervous about tomorrow. And then Yukari's like, well, what if you slept next to me? Haha, just kidding. Unless. And then Nanako like goes into bed next to her, and Yukari is like, oh shit. But then like Yukari has trouble sleeping because her crush is in bed with her. It's cute. It's a good time. And also there's a little scene of manager Sayori staying up late at night working on something. And you're like, oh, what is it?
Oh, hello?
So episode 12, last episode of the actual series. So again, there's OVAs after, but this is our last episode. And it is the day of the performance. You find out that part of the pressure from before, I think I mentioned that there was overlapping work. Well, the work is seriously overlapping, where they have their performance and the announcements will be read out, and then they're going to have to travel immediately back to Nagarekawa to work at the summer festival. So it's like they have like a very tiny time window to make the train that'll get them there in time, right? Just like Love Life. So they're extra nervous because I guess the day before, all of the groups drew lots to see what order they'd be performing in. And Nagarekawa is going straight last. So they have to wait for all the other groups, which just puts more pressure on making it in time. There's like a cute moment where like Nana and Yukari are like reassuring each other, where Nana's really scared. So Yukari gives her a hug and is like, everything will be okay. But then Nanako notices that Yukari seems nervous in her voice and hugs her back and is like, and I'm going to say the same thing to you. And it's just like, wow, reassuring each other. At some point, Sayori, so again, all of the other girls are on stage, right? Like all the other groups. So you see like little cut-ins of groups being like, hi, we are, and then it pans away, right? Showing that the performances are going on. And then after Awa Awa Girls' performance, they're like, oh, but let's go over to see the Nagarekawa girls and like tease them a little before they go on stage. But on their way there, they overhear Sayori, their manager, on the phone. And so Sayori is like, oh, things aren't looking good. We might not be able to make both events, blah, blah, blah. And it pans away. And you're like, oh, the Awa Awa Girls are hearing more of the drama backstage. The drama. So they decide not to talk to the Nagarekawa girls. And like you as a watcher are like, oh, I hope they don't do something evil because they're rivals. But then also you're like, but it's a slice of life show, so we'll see.
It's gonna pull a panty and stocking, and they're gonna be the evil villains in the last episode.
Maybe
like the literal last moment.
And so then Yukari and Nana walk in after like calming each other down, and Sayori's like, "So we have good news and bad news. The bad news is the thing I just got off the phone, which is all of the performances, all of the other idols, they're running late because it seems like all of the other Locodolls are trying to one-up Awa Awa Girls after last year. So we are like an hour behind schedule, and I don't know if we can make the festival. So do you girls want to perform at the Nagarekawa festival, or do you want to perform here?" And they think really hard, and they're like, both. And so then the uncle apparently is still on the phone and is like, yep, that's what I thought you would say, but I wanted you guys to come to that conclusion on your own. I didn't want it to be like the adults were pressuring you to do both and you getting stressed out.
Yeah.
So if you want to do both, I'll find a way to stall the summer festival. And they're like, okay, we'll do this as quickly and as fast as we can.
Yep.
And then Sayori's like, and the good news is I made you new outfits. And then she hands them their new outfits. They're the ones from the picture I sent you, Star.
Yeah.
They're kind of like sailory. Their midriff is showing. They have like berets. It's like kind of like a mini vest with like a tie on top and little arm floobies. And like a
Floobies?
I don't know a good way to put it.
Floobies?
Floobies. And a big puffy skirt. But it's a cute outfit. So they have new outfits for their final performance. They're like, hey, Sayori, what did you get the budget for this? And then she's like, I sewed it myself. And they're like, whoa, big deal. Strong. And then they go on stage. They introduce themselves with their titles. So like general manager of advertising, Nanyako, right? Mm-hmm. And then they do their song that they wrote. It's pretty cute. It's very much like it's a very Locodol song. So like the whole context of it is like, hi, we're Locodols. We promote Nagarekawa. Sorry that we trip. Sorry that we mess up, but we have a whole lot of love to give you, right? So that's kind of the lyrics. The animation. So this is like throughout the show, they do animate most of their performances. It's 2D animated, but it's not like intense 2D animation. So most of the time you're just seeing waist up or like just feet moving. You don't usually see a whole body. So.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, they do reuse a couple shots.
Yes, there are a couple shots reused, at least with the songs that are reused. This one is also, because it's their final performance, they do the thing where like halfway through the song, they have flashbacks throughout the series, right?
Yep,
so it's like
that budget.
Covering that up a little bit with the song.
Yep. But I mean, don't they do like the entire song though?
They do.
Or at least like a big section of it?
You hear at least a big section of it. I don't know how long the actual song is written to be, but it sounds like a full song.
Yeah. Which, I mean, props.
Yeah. And it's a cute song. It's not, all of the songs do feel like they fit the theme, where they don't feel like big songs. They feel like songs that a small town would come up with, which is cute.
Yeah.
It's very appropriate, which I like.
Fits the vibe.
Mm-hmm. And then it cuts, and it's time for the announcement of the winners, because they were the last performance anyway, so they have to stay on stage and listen through the winners. And the winners are, drumroll, the Awa Awa girls.
Hey, who could have possibly seen that coming?
Yeah, especially because apparently it was a popular vote contest, and they were already popular, so... And so the announcer's like, Awa Awa girls, why don't you make your speech? And they're like, yep, we'll make our speech. But before that, Nagarekawa girls, you can go. And like, everyone's like, what the fuck? And then like one of the other girls steps up and is like, okay, she said that not the way we wanted to say that. You guys, the Nagarekawa girls have a big important event in their hometown. And we want to let them go because we were the reason why a lot of these performances are running late. It's not their fault. And the whole point of Locodolls is to help out their hometown, and we're only Locodolls because of the support from our hometown. So audience, is it okay if they go to their summer festival? And like everyone's like, yeah, you can go.
Aw, that's cute. I didn't remember that part.
So then there's a montage of them rushing home, like running onto the train, like staring out the window being like, let's go. And then when they get to their hometown train station, there's no one there. And they're like, how are we going to get to the festival? When the guy from the sweet shop rolls up in his van and is like, everyone get in.
Get in my car.
Get in my car. And so they get to the festival and everyone in the town is still there, even though it's like an hour later than they expected. And they're all like, oh, we couldn't leave before the Nagarekawa girls sang, right?
Aww.
And I guess the uncle's there, and he's there in like full Elvis garb, being like, I stalled, and he like does like a little
Oh my
guitar
God.
riff, and you're like, okay,
Holy shit.
he did used to be a
Fucking
musician.
amazing. Fucking incredible.
And so they all go to the top of the float, the 4 girls, and also Nanako's friends, and they lead the whole town in singing O Nagarekawa, the city's song, and that's the end.
一緒に歌ってください。ああ、流れ川。生まれ育ったこの街を愛し愛されここまで来ました。今日も笑顔が溢れてる。あっちもこっちも華やいで。遠く離れたあの人もいつでも帰ってこれる場所。ああ、流れ川美しいこの街。
Aw, that's cute as
It was
hell.
so cute. And again, there's 3 OVAs after this, just quick teaser summaries. The first one, the Awa Awa girls come and visit their town and they show them around, which is pretty cute. The next episode is a Christmas episode / Yukari's birthday, which is also cute and also has a Christmas song. So, right? Next year.
This year's episode.
This year's episode. And the last one, they make a PR video for the town. So they are very cute, but definitely talking about that after that would be anticlimactic. They're definitely meant for fan service if you want more Locodol. And I like
Go watch
watching
it
them.
yourself.
Yeah, go watch it. They were enjoyable. So, all in all, I feel like Star, you're right. I should have watched the show earlier. They made it for Sarah. This was the cute slice of life idol show that I needed in my life.
This is your Amigata fault. This is
made
my
for
idol
me.
anime. It was made for me.
It was made for me. They did this for Sarah.
Crawling into your hole.
It's absolutely my hole. This is like when I watched Dropout Idol Fruit Tart, this is what I wished Fruit Tart was, you know? Like,
I mean, honestly, same.
like there was still the horny moments because it was based off of 4 Coma, but like it was still like it was good. It was solid. It made me happy. It was feel good, slice of life. The characters were great. Yui is my best girl. Love her.
So when are we cosplaying them, Sarah?
Yeah, we can. Who do you want to be, Star?
I don't know, because I mean, I feel like height-wise, we could do the 2 mains. I could be Yukari and you could be Nana, but I know that you love your mascot character.
I love my
girl.
mascot character, and you would be great as the manager. So
I can't remember what the manager looks like.
I'll send you a picture later. But so we
do.
just need other girls to be the actual idols.
Yup.
And then you cosplay with us.
There we go.
So that was my happy idol time. Star, do you have hints for your next episode? Do you know?
Yeah. So I waffled over whether or not I was actually going to commit to the next episode that I hinted at last time. I think I'm going to say fuck it and I'm going to do it.
Hey, fuck it.
Yeah. The tricky thing is it is technically not available for streaming yet.
Oh, so people who have to watch it will have to wait.
Yeah, you'll have to or go. This is definitely like telling people exactly what it is.
Go to the movie theater.
Go to the movie theater and watch it. And in order to be able to actually take notes on it,
Star in the movie theater with pencil and a notepad, being like,
just iPad, my mechanical keyboard, going take
taking notes.
I mean, I thought about it. It's like YouTubers do videos about movies that have just come out and like synopsisizing them. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
So Star, if people want to find us on the internet, where can they find us?
We've got a website,
Wow.
idoldays.card.co. That's idoldays.carrd.co. That is our website. You can find like a list of episodes, places where you can watch all the episodes. There is a link to our Discord server on the website where you can come hang out and talk to us, talk about idol shit, and also a link to our YouTube,
Whoa.
which is technically just my YouTube, but
Wow.
I've been uploading video versions of the podcast episodes. So if you like to listen to shit on YouTube, feel free to listen there. I will warn you guys, I do not have a lot of time, so they're basically just the podcast episode with a static image over it. But it's on YouTube now, and we're posting like 1 episode a week there.
And you can always put comments with timestamps if you want to go back and look things up. That's on you guys.
Exactly. That's exactly. Yes. And Sarah, if people want to find us on social media other than YouTube, is YouTube social media? I don't think so. But if people want to find us, where can they go?
They can go to Twitter or Instagram and search for @IdolDaysPod. That's @IDOLDAYSPOD. Join us there.
Yay!
Add us with your favorite cozy anime that are also idols.
Oh, Sarah, you mentioned this earlier in the episode, and I want to take like a 30-second segue. You mentioned Oron because of one of the characters gave you like the Kyoya glasses vibe.
Yes.
They're kind of like idols, but they don't sing. Is Oron High School Host Club an idol anime?
Add us. Tell us your thoughts on if Oran High School Host Club is an idol anime.
That's your discussion topic. That's your homework for the week.
I like the idea of adding weekly homework for our Twitter.
Weekly homework. Send us your hot takes on is...
Oran High School.
Listen, at the very least... Oh, no, you know what? No, I'm going to make this I'm going to make people fight on social media. Which one is more of an idol anime?
Ooh.
Oran High School Host Club or Five Nights at Freddy's?
Ooh. Ranking the idol anime.
Ranking your idol animes. We're going to make people mad at us on social media again. It's happened before.
Incredible.
People got spicy at us about the idol anime traditionalist chart we did on like April Fool's last year. Some people got so mad about that chart. I'm like, y'all, it's fine. Fuck you also. It's fine. It's a fucking joke.
Here's the answer. Everything's an idol anime.
If we say it's an idol anime, it's an idol anime. Fuck you.
So
thanks for listening to our podcast.
This has been Idol Days. We've been Lady.
Lady.
See you next
live.
Bye.
Bye.